Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this HPro session, which will be a session that we're going to go through the HARMAN Professional University walkthrough. Today, I'm pretty sure we've got this working, so it's really good news. So this will be presented by JPRO. The people presenting it will be myself and Quinton, who I will flick on the screen now. Just give me a second to remember.
Morning, everybody.
So Quinton will pop up now, and then he'll give you the big hello.
Hi, folks.
So what we're going to cover today will be the HARMAN University walkthrough. This is going to be a session that will show you what to look forward to inside the HARMAN University portal. Specifically, this will focus around the course material that's useful. So what we're going to do is basically give you the courses that we recommend that you look at from a audio and video control perspective. And then we're also going to give you the courses that are, to us, are very exciting, so ones that are worthwhile doing. But it's basically going to give you a good idea of what to look forward to use inside the platform. And this is going to be presented by myself and Quinton. So what we can see on the screen right now is an overview of what we're going to be going through. And we're basically also going to explain how to progress through the course material, get your certifications and those sort of things. Perfect things to do during this time. So I'm going to hang over to Quinton, and he will take it from here.
Thanks, Maldwin. Morning, everybody. I hope you're safe and healthy and settled into working from home now in our new environments, and your kids aren't driving you too stir crazy. I'm just going to flick over content now and just share my screen so that you guys can see the HARMAN University portal. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see my screen now. So the page that I have up at the moment, this is the HARMAN website. So it's the pro.harman.com/training website. So it's everything HARMAN. So if you're looking for case studies with HARMAN solutions or just information on the whole HARMAN suite of solutions, then this is the place to start with. So this is the HARMAN Professional University landing page. So this is before we've actually logged into the HARMAN training portal. And it just gives you a bit of an overview and some information about HARMAN training and what they have on offer. So down the bottom here, we have certifications available from HARMAN. Now these cover different areas of study that are relevant to your particular roles, whether that be audio certifications, control, lighting, or networked AV certifications. So HARMAN offer learn tracks or certification in each of these specialized areas, and whatever takes your interest or whatever is relevant to you, you can start down your journey towards certification. I'll just click on one of these links here, the control certification, which gives us a little bit of information about what's required to attain these certs. So for control certifications, it's broken down into design, commissioning, programming, management certifications, and each of the different areas of specialization are broken down like this. So let's take the control design certification path as an example. So you start off your journey with HARMAN certification as a newbie. We suggest that we do some core learning, some core courses. These are optional. The light blue courses are optional. The dark blue ones are required, your exams, obviously. And you start off with attaining the associate level certification. So your HCCAD is your design associate level certification. Once you've attained associate level, you can then move on to the professional level from there. These are great in terms of giving your employers confidence in your ability, but also in giving your customers some confidence in your ability with the solutions in the HARMAN suite. So this is just an overview of the certifications that are available to you and your staff or colleagues. So I'll just go back. Other information that's here, the course catalog is here. This is a PDF that you can download. It gives you the entire course list for the HARMAN Pro University portal. And down below here, we have classroom schedules, which gives you a list of the schedules, global schedules, including New Zealand. Right now, amidst COVID-19, we haven't scheduled any classroom courses. As soon as we're out the other side of this, then we'll look to start scheduling some in-region training. So in order to log into the portal, we have the login link over here on the left. So I'm going to click on this now. And the first page you'll be brought to, if you've never logged into the HARMAN Professional Training portal before, is the login page. If you don't have an account, there's a sign up button at the top right here, and you can choose to sign up with the HARMAN Professional University or the JBL Professional Training. Now, the JBL Professional Training, I believe, is more around tour sound and live sound deployments, and the HARMAN Professional University covers the entire portfolio of HARMAN solutions. So we're using the HARMAN Professional University. Just simply fill in your details here. The great thing about HARMAN University now is that it's open to all members of the audiovisual industry. It used to be that a lot of this training was locked down to just resellers and select end users. So now anybody that wants to learn about HARMAN solutions has the ability to sign up. So once you've entered your details, click sign up. You'll be sent an activation code just as you would with any other sign up, and then you'll be able to log into the portal. So I'm going to log into the portal now. That's my details. So just bear with me. Everybody in New Zealand's currently on the internet from home, so sometimes it's a little bit slower than that I would like. It wasn't too bad. So this is the HARMAN University dashboard. This is your home page, your landing page. Across the top here, we've got some information that just sort of the highlights of the HARMAN Professional University here. News on there, you can register for updates on particular product ranges, solutions, so you can subscribe to them. The catalog, again, the PDF download there. And if you didn't know, a lot of the HARMAN online training courses and classroom courses are actually CTS certified. So if you've got your CTS certification with AVIXA, and you can earn renewal credits through doing HARMAN training. So it's really good to you know, not only learn new things, but also retain your certification with AVIXA as well, as it's a reasonably large investment. Okay, so if you ever get lost with the HARMAN University portal, then the easiest way to get back to your dashboard is to click on the three lines at the top right here, and then you have the HARMAN, you have the dashboard here. So I'm going to dive right in now. We'll go through some of these briefly later on. Maldwin will give us an explanation of the transcripts on here. I'm going to jump into the HARMAN course catalog, and this is where we can begin our training. So HARMAN training is broken down into product or into brand categories to make it nice and easy for you to find your way to what's most relevant to you. The core curriculum at the top here is where I would recommend anybody that's starting out with the AV industry and their learning, is this is where they would start. So I'm going to click on the core curriculum. Yep. So the core curriculum is actually, it's brand agnostic. It's not specific to any particular brand. It's just general knowledge in the audiovisual industry. So if you're new to the industry and you're just wanting a broad brushstroke overview of audiovisual and how it fits into our world, then this is the place to start with. So you enroll in one of these courses, and then once you're enrolled, there are multiple videos that you can watch at your own pace. So I'm going to click on the core curriculum, which is the audio essentials here. You might notice that they're in English, European, German. So if you speak another language, then by all means pick one of those. I haven't found a way to actually filter on language on the portal. I don't believe there is one. So I'll just re-enroll in this one because I have been enrolled before, and I'll just click start here. Okay, so I'm starting my first my first courses with the HARMAN Professional portal. So we can see that, the first video here is 5 minutes and audio versus sound. So most of these videos are sort of 10 minutes in length at the very most. These particular ones on this course are 6 minutes is the longest here. So you can go through and do each of these at your own leisure. And then at the end of this, there is a short exam, which is 50 questions. And I believe that it's a 80% pass mark on there. Don't freak out if you fail, you can resit it again. If you fail it a second time, there is a stand down period there as well of, I think it's 72 hours. And maybe suggesting having a look back through the training. All of the exams are open books, so we strongly suggest that you use resources like Google, like the HARMAN websites, to get the information that you need to answer these questions. We don't expect, and nobody expects you to retain all of the information that you absorb and retain it in your head and be able to call it at an instant. So it's about knowing where to find the answers to this, and out in the real world, that's what we do every day. Cisco guys, they're always jumping on Cisco websites or on Experts Exchange looking for answers. So let's go back here. So I recommend starting off with the core curriculum. So I'm just going to go back again, and I'm going to go to the AMX video and controllers, where I'm going to start my first journey. And AMX video and controllers near and dear to my heart. I've been working in distribution of AMX for over 9 years now, so I've thoroughly enjoyed seeing the technologies come through the industry. So I'm just going to click on that. And now we're broken down into certification and classroom courses and on demand. So certifications are your learn tracks, and the classroom courses are linked to those certifications as well. On-demand courses are your bite-sized chunks of learning. If you're interested in a particular technology solution set, then have a look at the on-demand ones. To start with, I'm going to jump into certifications. You can get back up the levels by using the links here just above, or the back button up the top left here. So again, we're breaking it down, making it manageable, making your learning as relevant to your roles as possible. So AMX Designer is all about learning about pre-sales engineer designing with AMX. And if you're a salesperson, then this might be relevant to you. Installation commissioning is, I want to be a service technician, an install technician, a commissioning agent, then I would start with that certification there. Networked AV. Networked AV is huge in our world today. The last 4 years have seen the real surge of converged IT AV environments, and now we're actually, every day we're pushing video and audio across enterprise networks. So that is something that is really dear to my heart. Is I have a network background and really enjoy networked AV. Programmer and resource management suite there as well. So I'm going to just quickly click on the AMX install the commissioning certification here. So the certification is broken down into your associate level and then your professional certification. So you would start your journey as an associate. I've already attained the associate, but this is where you would start your journey with your certification. So it's broken down into either optional and required modules. So your optional modules here, if I click on resume here, is go to course content here, is broken down into, again, manageable bite-sized chunks, short videos. These are optional, so if these are all topics that you're very familiar with, then you don't necessarily need to complete these. It does say optional, obviously. It's recommended that you do watch some of them. There might be information that you haven't you've missed. And then you're required your exams. So there's either online exams for your associate level. It's typically online exams. Then for your professional, you may be required to do practical exams. So with a practical exam, I'll just click back and I'll go over to the control professional. With a practical exam, you may be required to submit a design if you are doing this design certification. So you will be given some mock scenarios and asked to select equipment and provide design in whatever design software you use, whether that be AutoCAD, Visio, or StarDraw, whatever it is, submit in those formats. So this is the professional certification, and we strongly suggest to start out in the professional levels that you would join us for instructor-led classes. So I will be hosting courses in installation and commissioning and on networked AV and design in New Zealand. Like I said, once we come out the other side of our current COVID situation. So once you've done the classroom course, there's an exam again for this, 80% pass rate on that. So that's how you attain your certifications. Then there are renewals. So renewals, maybe you might need to view a few new topics that have come out over the last 3 years. So your certification lasts 3 years, and then you'll be required to do maintenance on there. So new technologies come out, so you're expected to be aware of these new technologies. Let's click back here. So I'll just go back to video and control now, and then have a quick look at the on-demand. So on-demand here. So AMX basics. Videos that give you a broad overview again of, now this is talking about AMX control, video switching, transports. So it's a really good place to start if you're not familiar or haven't worked with AMX before, to get across it as a product solution suite, the ecosystem of AMX products. Collaboration and workspace. So over the last few years, collaboration, workspace, huddle spaces have been a big focus on enterprise customers, getting the most out of the space that they have. You know, space at $1 per meter is a premium. So these smaller solutions are certainly big in our world now. Here we're looking at plug and play solutions with the collaboration workspace. Don't necessarily need any integration with a control platform, control solution. So Ascendo Vibe is a web conferencing soundbar with USB for your laptop device, so that I can use the built-in camera on there, has built-in microphones on there, soundbar obviously, HDMI input on there. So really good plug and play solution for a huddle spaces. We then have our connectivity and transport kit solution. So these spaces now have a lot of USB peripherals in them, and how do we share those USB peripherals with both a laptop, a guest's laptop, and maybe a room PC? So these transport kits allow us to be able to automatically, with source detection switching, switch those USB devices dynamically from a room PC to my laptop just by plugging in the USB cable and an HDMI cable. So making it very simple for us to come and use those peripherals that exist in a room. Zoom rooms are a massive in our world now, and AMX Madero touch panels have the ability to natively display the Zoom room control UI. So typically in a Zoom room, you might have a iPad on the table and a docking station, and that would be your control surface for your Zoom room PC. If you want something that's more of a dedicated control surface, then the Madero touch panels, they're a very elegant looking touch panel. They're PoE capable. They're very secure. These can be used natively as a Zoom room control appliance. So have a look at that one. So those are really your plug and play devices. In terms of integration, if you're interested in getting into integration with AMX and HARMAN, then in our integration software and development tools here, we have what's called RPM, which is Rapid Project Maker. It's an online portal utility for configuring spaces, configuring small, medium, even large meeting rooms with this. Essentially, you're giving it information on the inputs you have in your room, your environment. Like I have a laptop, I have a microphone, I have a room PC in there, and so forth. And the outputs, I have a projector, I have a screen, I have a motorized screen, maybe I've got lighting control. We give it this information, we give it the brands, the models, and we have pre-created pieces of code that or modules for those devices that we are controlling. We then provided information about, okay, so how are we transporting the video from this laptop to the display? Are we using a presentation switcher? Are we using a matrix switcher? Are we using networked AV? And the output from that information is that it actually outputs the configuration, the program for you, and then that is loaded onto one of AMX's NetLinks controllers. So NetLinks is AMX control program language, and that is loaded onto one of those controllers, and then that can be deployed. So you don't necessarily need to learn a control language from start to finish to be able to configure a space. So it's a good way to introduce yourself to the world of AMX integration. Certainly, if that interests you and you want to take that to the next level in terms of the complexity of spaces, then we have NetLinks programming is available to you as an option. Customer tools, if you wanted to provide a UI on a tablet device like a Samsung Tab or an iOS device, there's TP control. So you don't have to use an AMX touch panel. We do have the ability to use those iOS and Android devices. And then just finally, networked AV. Networked AV is really near and dear to me. I come from a networking background as an IT administrator once upon a time. And seeing the convergence of networked AV on enterprise networks has been really exciting, and I've really loved the challenge of working with some IT professionals and giving them confidence that our HARMAN solutions won't break their networks. So if you're interested in networked AV, then strongly suggest having a look at the networked AV on-demand courses on the HARMAN portal. ENCODERS and DECODERS are a really good place to start. Gives you a good overview of the HARMAN networked AV devices, encoders, decoders. So we're taking video from either an analog source like a VGA laptop, if you've still got one of those, heaven forbid, or a laptop HDMI. We're turning into packets of data with an encoder, transporting it over enterprise networks, decoding it with a decoder at the other end, breaking that out to HDMI. We have full video, audio switching. We have unique features like local play and host play, where if I haven't plugged my laptop into the encoder generates a holding slide on the screen that gives the end user a prompt to plug their laptop in, or if there's a network issue, the decoder at the display will pop up with an image saying that, hey, we haven't got the video from the encoder, there may be a networking issue there. So strongly suggest networked AV, and with that, there's loads more to have a look at, guys. Really recommend having a look through the on-demand categories. With that, I'm going to hand over to Moldwin to go through HARMAN Audio.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. So this is the audio part of this. Obviously HARMAN has a very big category of audio products and things like that to cover. And HPU very much is full of that sort of stuff. So we're going to look at which courses I highly suggest you take a look at and give you a good idea of what sort of things will be more on the audio side of interest. So just to give you a pre-warning, you've seen this course catalog a few times. So you're definitely going to see it a lot when you start logging into the system. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to hop through tabs here at the top to make the loading thing go away. So that just means you'll need to follow a little bit of where I am, but basically whenever I hop over a tab, you'll see HARMAN course catalog, BSS, audio processors, certs, and so forth. So this will give you an idea of where I am. I will highlight it now and then as we go. And then the other housekeeping is wherever you see a little yellow tag, that's what I'm going to be referencing. So from a quick look at the picture, you'll see which courses I'm referring to quite quickly. So starting off, BSS. So this is basically me going here and going to the BSS course material. In BSS, you have certain class courses, and there's audio design and audio programming. Audio design covers everything to do with designing an audio system. It covers the amplifiers, the type of speakers you're going to use, patterns, loads of really useful information. Very, very good course to do. And inside there is the associate section, and there is obviously the pro section. The associate section you can do now while you're at it, and then when you want to get to the instructor-led stuff, after all of this stuff is over, you can come to those classes and then attend it. It's a very, very intense course. It's definitely not a very simplified version of audio design. It's worthwhile doing. You will learn quite a lot from there. Also, the in-class stuff is very intense, and that's why we only really do it 2 times a year, because it's quite intense to present it. Then further than that is the audio programming section. So this covers the BSS side of things. So looking at that, you have your associates, professional, and so forth. Now, everybody might assume this is only BSS. It's not. Audio architect is what this course essentially surrounds. And what that comes down to is that Audio Architect is the same program we use to deploy Crown amplifiers and other products within the HARMAN catalog. It's actually the program that most HARMAN audio stuff is done through. So this course doesn't just aim specifically onto knowing BSS, but it does aim onto the other Crown products and things like that. And there is an associate level and there is a pro level. And what I really would like to highlight is that there's a recert here, because I'm going to have to redo this again. So there's just a really good example of when you have to redo your courses after having them for a few years. So the associate you can do at home, the pro level, you can attempt the exam without going to the instructor's course, but you'll be missing a bit of information. But it's still, if you know BSS quite well, you might be able to get through it. Further than this, on the on-demand section of the BSS processes, there are some really useful courses. Amongst them is enabling AE67 between BSS and SCSI. This is a really, really good course if you're looking to do this or you have done it. There's a lot of material inside here that isn't publicly available, explaining how to set things up. And it's actually, in its essence, it's how to do SCSI to Dante with AE67 implementation. Of course, there's a BSS element to it, but it doesn't comply completely. So there's a really good information inside there. The design courses covers basically the basic version of what's inside the audio design course. The acoustic echo cancellation course, I highly recommend watching this if you are doing any conference room type stuff. This teaches you how to do echo cancellation, and it also covers with audio examples how the settings change the effect that you're getting. So it will teach you a lot about how you should be able to tune the system to work to what you're looking for, the results and those sort of things. Worthwhile course, very detailed, really great audio examples. It's definitely a good one to watch. Further than that, understanding multicast with Dante. So those of you that are into Dante or are looking towards doing it, this is a very good course on understanding how the multicasting works in Dante. It explains how to change the Dante IDs for the multicast addressing. And there is quite a bit of information in there. I really recommend this one for people looking at Dante, because Dante level 1 and Dante level 2 doesn't cover elements that are inside here. If you don't know what I just meant by that, there is an ordinate.com website that you can do free online certified training, level 1, level 2. And those courses are very good, but they don't cover the multicasting as well as this does. So it's worthwhile doing that course. Moving on to the next one, we have the AKG stuff. So inside the AKG realm, the really useful course is the wireless basics. So this is covering generic information about wireless microphones and how they work. Very worthwhile course to look at. It will basically give you a good idea of how RF works, give you a really good fundamental understanding. We currently are receiving or doing RF venue courses from the States at 7 a.m. in the morning on Fridays. But this gives you the backbone of understanding that, because those courses are a little bit more advanced. So this is worthwhile doing if you're going to watch those courses and you want to understand it a bit better. Then Crown amplifiers on demand, the CDI DSP configuration. This is really useful to watch. Basically, it gives you all the information you need to know about how to configure the amplifier using the DSP that's on the amp. If you have used or deployed these amps, you will know that there's quite a lot of intelligence inside them. This gives you the groundwork to understand how to use that part of the amplifier. There is other videos in here about DCI and those sort of things, and there is Crown iTech HD training also, if you're into the touring side of things. Following this, we have this in the DBX catalog, AFS. So this is advanced feedback suppression or automatic feedback suppression. This teaches you how that works and makes you understand how to set it up. There are quite a few products in the HARMAN catalog that have this built in. AFS2 is one of them. The UI is one of them. The Zone Pros is one of them. So lots of useful things, and understanding how to set it up is quite useful if you're going to intend on using that product. Further to that, the DBX Zone Pro software, it teaches you here how to deploy it. I know this is still a very popular product, so it's worthwhile doing this course if you are interfacing with Zone Pros. Gives you a good idea of how to set them up, use the wizard and that sort of side of things. Then moving on to the JBL Professional side. When you go into the JBL Professional tab, you'll see these two courses, and there's the certs and on demand. These are where we're going to focus. These are actually online courses with really strange American or European times to them. So you can try and attend one of these, but otherwise the ones you're looking for on demand are located here. So looking into those certain demands, there's the AD144. This is an online course that teaches you how to do speaker selection and that sort of things. It is a class that we're going to teach in the coming year. But this is covering in-store speaker installation and choice of speakers and how to choose the right speakers for the application. Then over here underneath the on-demand section, we have the IntelliVox training. If you don't know IntelliVox, I'll just show you. It's these column speakers. They're extremely powerful in terms of how they control sound, but they're actually they're beam steering speakers. So you use these to steer the audio where you want it to be, and they're very useful in very reverberant spaces. And where acoustics would be a really difficult thing to deal with when you're deploying speakers. So that course essentially shows you everything you need to know about how to deploy them. And they're worthwhile checking out. So if you don't know anything about the IntelliVox, check them out. They're really interesting speakers. They're very good speakers. We did a theater recently that had about a 30-meter distance, and I could whisper in the microphone at the back row and I could hear myself clearly. And that's really the magic of that speaker, is it gives you the same sound level across the entire space and doesn't get affected by reverb as much. Really interesting speaker to find out about. Then over here from the tourist side, we have a line array calculator and performance manager. So line array calculator, this teaches you how to use line array calculator. It's what deploys the VTX line arrays and those sort of products. It gives you the array calculations, the SPL plot, all those sort of things. And the performance manager is what this gets imported into. So performance manager is the actual on-the-day event, the software you use to manage the system and so forth. I know this is version 1 of it, but it covers all the basics of what Performance Manager is. So it's still worthwhile looking at these two if you're in the live sound part. Underneath the JBL tutorials, hidden very nicely, there's the CVT calculator overview. So if you're using the JBL CVTs quite often, the version of what a line array calculator is for CVT is located inside there with training. And then over here we have a course on how to use SketchUp. So SketchUp is a 3D rendering program that we used to use to do building designs and things like that. It's a very powerful tutorial that teaches you how to use it, so it's worthwhile looking at that. SketchUp is a free program, so it's even more beneficial. Further to this, we have the VTX training. So up here at the top on the on-demand, you'll see VTX A series, and over here is VTX A12 and A8. This trains you about the rigging systems and basic knowledge of those line arrays, so worthwhile doing if you are interfacing with those boxes. Then the next thing down is the Soundcraft mixers. So there is a lot of courses in here about VI and SI, but the really big highlighter is the Soundcraft Guide to Mixing. This is a course on how to use a mixing console. I know that sounds really silly from a live perspective, but from an installation perspective, some of you might not have come from the live sound aspect. And this course gives you a really good idea of how to use a mixing console. But the big deal for you from an install perspective is all things inside a DSP come from a mixing console in some way, bar AEC. But mix minus, routing, matrices, EQs, compression, all of that's inside a mixing console. And this course covers those things, including things like phantom power. So where you might know a little bit about these, this is where you can expand your knowledge quite a lot on learning about phantom power and those sort of things. So I really recommend that if you haven't dived into mixing consoles or digital mixing consoles in a while, go into this course. It's very generic. It's worthwhile looking at. And that kind of covers all the audio stuff. Now, as mentioned, you have this option here called a transcript. So over here on this drop down, you can select your transcript. And this gives you an overview of all the courses you've completed and the badges that you get. So these badges you can use on emails or wherever you want, but they're basically a you have done achievement, essentially. And this covers all the courses that you've done, when you've done them, and so forth, and gives you a lot of information. The really nice thing about this is you can print this off and include it on your CV or any job applications. The other side of this is that we can also present this to your employers if they request it. So if you are an employer and you want to know if someone has done these courses, they can contact us and we can tell them, yes, they've done the HCAP or anything like that. Other than that, that pretty much covers the HPU section. What I'm going to do now is switch back to a presentation of a pretty picture and try and not mess it up while I'm doing it. So give me a second. This is quite tricky to do. Click, click, click. So from there, we're pretty much finished. I'm just going to bring Quentin back online. He should be there with me now. Hey, Quentin.
Hello.
So at this point, we really want to say thank you for coming or joining us today and watching the video. From my side, I'm very happy to see that some people attended today, especially. I'm sure Quentin feels the same.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. You joined us in this tough times. Yeah, thank you so much for your time again. Given that we were attempting yesterday, so really appreciate it. Thank you. And look, if you need anything from me at all, and my email's there, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, and same applies to me. Email, please contact us during this time. We are going to present other courses. Right now, we've done some pretty basic ones, Cisco training and Dante training and those sort of things. But if you do want to do the BSS Pro training or any of the AMX stuff, just let us know and we'll see if we can actually present our in-class courses online. It is a little bit trickier because I can't see people's faces, but we are quite keen on doing those. I see Rob did ask a question about if you can pin the courses. You would have noticed that when I went through my training, there was that little yellow thing that I used. That's a pin. So if you pin that, it becomes part of a quick search thing. So it makes it a lot easier to find it. And as you register for courses, you'll get that My Course tab that Nicholas mentioned, and it will keep a track of all the courses that you're looking to use from there. So if there aren't any other questions, I think that's it for today. And we'll hopefully see you guys on the next one. Cheers. And Quentin will say bye too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day. Cheers.